What's up, everybody? Mike Matarazzo here. This is Kitchen Brain Podcast, and this is a micro episode that we're going to discuss one of the questions that I've posted in the Chefs for Change Facebook group. Um, I think it's important that we post questions on there, we post some answers, some reasoning, but just a collection of questions, a collection of problems doesn't necessarily equate to change, right? So we need to take these things to the next level, I think. And I want to take some opportunities to give a little bit more of my perspective on some of the questions that I ask, since I don't often do that in the group. Um, one of the questions that I asked fairly recently was, you always say that you want balance. I'm sorry, you always say that you want to balance work and life, but have you ever actually defined life? And, like most of the questions on here, we get, a lot of good perspective from different people. Um, and I ask a lot of questions in the group about balance and self-care, self-awareness. Um, because I think it's important. I think it's one of our broader and more mysterious sort of challenges that we have. So, I ask a lot of questions about it because it's important to me, and I don't think that we can talk too much about it. So, um, part of the reason that I think people, we're talking about chefs because that's what we are in this group, but uh, we have trouble with defining balance. And somebody actually, it was Wilfred Berrio, who's a great contributor to the Chefs for Change group. He pointed out that maybe we need to define balance, and I think that is spot on. Um, we do, and I don't think we take the time to define it. And the very root of the question, have you ever actually defined life? And I don't think people do. I think it's abstract, and we don't really stop to define these things. So we often talk about work life balance, right? Somebody else responded here and said, life is any pursuit you have that is not attached to your job, work, or your career, right? So it's another way to separate work from life. And I think this is kind of um, the root of some of our issues and confusion here. People talk about work life balance. They use the term work to life balance. And I really dislike this term. Okay. I think we seriously need to rebrand the term work to life balance, because in that context, anything that precedes life in that context, in this case, work, is viewed as a negative. Okay. It's the enemy of life in that equation. And here's what I mean by that: work is a part of life, right? It's something that you need to do in your life. Okay. So we need to stop alienating work from life and start balancing it with the rest of our life essentials. And those life essentials are different for everybody, right? Most of us have to work. So that's generally on everybody's list. But there are other things. There are other things that make up life. And we don't choose to put those things in the context of to life, right? Think of all the things in life. You have your work life, you have your married life, your sex life, your social life, your financial life. You have your health, whether it be mental health, physical health, well-being. Maybe community service or spirituality is important to you. You can add that to your list. Um, there are all of these things that make up life, but those things don't make it into the same equation as work. Um, Imagine if you came home and you looked at your spouse and you said, I really think I need to find a better marriage to life balance. How do you think that conversation would go? Um, I know it wouldn't go well. I could tell you that. So, that's what I mean when we say it alienates it, right? So it's just life balance, isn't it? Shouldn't it just be life balance with work being a part of that equation, right? Um, you know, what I feel is pretty effective is actually making a list. I talk quite a bit about writing down what you want your life to look like, right? And getting things on paper is huge. Balance is probably the most common topic that clients in my coaching practice bring up, because it's tough. I work primarily with chefs, and that's the big buzzword, right? Balance. So, one thing that I always suggest is, well, first you have to ask yourself what you want, right? What is it that you want to be a part of your life? And I use something, and you can Google it. It's not something that I invented, but a tool that I use is it's called the balance wheel of life, and it's basically a big pie. It's a big circle, and there are sections cut out, and each section is a different aspect of what's important to you, what you want to be present in your life. And you basically rate everything from 0 to 10, the center of the circle being 0, the outside perimeter being 10. And you put a little arc inside each section at the level where you find that you put the emphasis on that item. So it's not, how important you feel it is. It's how much emphasis, how much focus, how much effort you actually put into that aspect of your life. And work is one of those sections, right? So, work might be a 9, social life might be a 3. Your relationship or your marriage might be, a 4 or a 5. Hobbies and interests might be a section that might be like an 8. So you make all these little arcs, and then you try to connect them into a circle, or a wheel, as the case may be. And you ask yourself when you look at it, if this wheel was on my car, how smooth would my ride be? Right. So it's a good tool to use just to kind of see where you're at. There's another comment on that question that says, yes, it's the time, talking about life. It's the time you spend with your real family doing things not related to work life. Again, it kind of splits our world up in I believe an unhealthy way. So, I wish people would stop saying work to life balance, warm up to the fact that work is part of your life, and try to figure out ways to lower work down from a 9 to an 8 or a 7. And, you know, mental health or your social life or well being or whatever up from a 3 to a 4 or a 5, and try to bring them closer together. Right? That's what balance is. I think people dismiss balance in our profession because we tend to think in extremes, right? So when we say the word balance, everybody starts to picture, Monday through Friday, weekends off, holidays off, nights off, um, 40 hours a week. And then you think about that and you realize how ridiculous and impractical that is for a chef, and you dismiss it and you just say, well, this is what we signed up for. uh, there is no balance, right? It becomes a unicorn. But it doesn't have to be that extreme. Take small bites, right? The road to lasting change it should be a marathon, right? Not a sprint. It should be a gradual, ongoing thing that you're constantly working on. You don't graduate from culinary school and then decide, I don't have to learn anything more about cooking, right? You keep that education going. You want to learn more. You buy books. You research things on the internet. You work with other chefs. You pick each other's brains. You do that to make yourself better as a chef, right? At work. What do you do to enhance all of the other aspects of that wheel? What do you do to be a better father, a better husband or wife, a better mother, a better, significant other or partner? What do you do to be, I don't know, better at just taking care of yourself? right? Do you read books on that? Do you study that? Do you look for more education? Do you go to support groups? Do you talk to a therapist? Do you go to the gym? Do you research exercise programs? Do you, look into a new hobby? Do you, what do you do to make that better? And another thing about balance that I hear people say that bothers me a little bit is, for chefs, for leaders, for managers, executive chefs, sous chefs, it's easier to be able to incorporate balance, right? A lot of the people that comment on balance, that say how they have found balance and everything's beautiful. A lot of them are older, higher up in the ranks, or retired, right? And that's cool. And I'm super happy for everybody who's gotten to that point in their career and their life to be able to realize that. But it also, there are people who set a tone that, you know, keep working hard. Balance may not be possible when you're a younger cook, but it will come later on after you put the time in. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. That's saying, do it this way, program your brain to work this way, to be this way, to live this way for most of your career. And then one day you're just going to be able to flip a switch and enjoy everything. And we know that's not true, right? You can't just flip a switch. A lot of us are broken by that point, right? So probably not the healthiest approach. So yeah, it's true. It's more difficult for a line cook or a line level employee who is at the mercy of the schedule to find opportunities for balance. But it's also our responsibility as leaders to try to figure out unique, new, out of the box ways to provide a little bit more of it. And by us saying, put your time in, pay your dues, and one day you'll be able to have it, it doesn't help the cause. We continue to breed people and minds that will eventually just have the same struggles that we had trying to find it, right? So we know what it feels like. We wish we had it when we were younger. And it's possible. It is possible. It's not possible if we don't think it's possible, right? Um, and it's fresh in my mind, so I'm gonna say it because everybody is full of limiting beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs, and everybody has reasons. Everybody has obstacles. Everybody has justification that they throw up in front of goals, right? And one thing I posted today, and I'm going to end with this, is this: for almost every obstacle that people throw down in front of our desired destination, the little voice inside my head says, burn it down. You throw it up, got it, noted. Now burn it down. That's the kind of extreme thinking that I believe it takes to affect change in some of our challenges, right? Yes, I got it. I hear you. I know you've been doing this for a while. I know what you've seen. I respect what you've seen and what you know. I understand what the challenges are that lie in front of us. The question is, what do we do to burn it down and start over? If we can't change the model, throw the model in the trash. Build a new model. Can we do it in a week? No. But we can't do it ever if we don't believe that we can start over. And that's how I feel about obstacles. So that's my 2 cents on the balance thing. I'm sure I will have plenty more to say on the topic of balance as time goes on. For all of you that are on the Chefs for Change group or in the Chefs for Change group, thank you so much. We're well over 1,000 members now. I thank you all that have invited people to the group. Please keep the dialogue going. It's extremely valuable for what we're trying to do here. Invite more people. Keep contributing. Keep asking questions. Keep answering questions. and it's really exciting for me to do. So thank you all. Anybody listening on Kitchen Brain Podcast right now, please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you haven't heard of the Chefs for Change group, go to Facebook, join Chefs for Change. It's not just a mindless social media time suck. It is actually a useful platform where we can have useful conversations that are productive and will help the industry down the line. So thank you all for listening or watching. See you all soon. Stay well. Kitchen Brain.